Welcome to Crafty Hints. I'm Chantel. Today I will be making tiered tray items with the lemon theme. There'll also be one other bonus. It doesn't quite fit on the tier tray, but I think you'll like it. One other thing is this video is part of a collab with MomDas and Zana at K.atHomeDIY. These ladies have wonderful channels, and I'll show you a little bit more about them in a moment. Let's get to our first DIY. Project number 1. So first off, I'm taking some tissue paper, just some white plain old tissue paper, and I'm taping it to some cardstock. Now you could definitely tape it to just some printer paper, but we're going to run this through our inkjet printer. And that's what I did right here. I ran this through the printer, and now I'm leaving it attached to the cardstock while I cut it out because it's so much easier than cutting that thin tissue paper. And I will be linking these printables down in my description box below. I designed these for you to use, so you can see it's just a thin tissue paper. Love the phrase, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? And I do apologize. I was working after work and the sun starts to set. Well, not quite set, but it's shining awful bright on my window. So I apologize. You can kind of see the little crossbars there. So I took that piece of wood from the Home Depot. That strip of wood is like 5 feet long, I believe, and it was under $2. But you could use these white wood boards from the Dollar Tree as well. Those are 2 inches, and my board was 1.5 inches. So I think that the Home Depot is a better deal. So I cut those. You could use a little hand miter box, or you could use, whatever saw you have. So I cut 2 pieces here to make a square. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it look like shiplap or if I was just going to put these on top, but with this Gorilla Glue, it really sealed that seam, and I couldn't even see it after, I gave it a quick sand. So I didn't go with the shiplap on this one, but I might next time. So just using a little bit of Gorilla Glue, I didn't use any hot glue on this one at all. The Gorilla Glue just pulled those 2 together. So I set those aside to dry after just making sure the seam was covered. And while these were drying, I decided to paint these blocks. This is a Waverly white chalk paint. I thought that I would go with white. I tend to go to ivory, but I went with white this time because of the tissue paper. So after those dried for a while, I went back and painted those as well. So now I grabbed some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to use this little fan brush. I ended up grabbing the glossy Mod Podge because it was in an easier bottle than my big bottle, and I totally forgot that it was glossy. I would have liked to have done this in matte. So I just covered the board there. As you can see, it just looks like a block. So I'm going to start out with Life is Sweet, and the little lemon makes the tea. I thought it was kind of cute. So you just put that right on there, and be careful because you can't wiggle it around too much since it's tissue paper. Then I just went right over the top of it. And it worked out pretty well. This is almost too easy for how cute they turn out. I didn't pop in a preview this time. I apologize. I just realized that, but you will get to see how these turn out. And this is love, and the O is a lemon as well. So again, these are just super easy. I just wanted to kind of show you a couple different shapes here. And this is lemonade, and the letters inside the words have little tiny lemons in there. So again, you can, use these how you want. These printables could be, printed in cardstock and framed if you just, make them a little bit bigger. You could use like PicMonkey or any of those free online editing softwares. So just making sure to go over, the whole thing. And I did show all 4 of them. Maybe I didn't quite need to, but this one is my favorite. So I wanted to make sure and get it in there too. I just liked how all the lemons came together. It just has such neat, vibrant colors. I do hope that you're enjoying this video. And if you did come over from one of the other ladies' channels, welcome if you haven't visited me before. All right, I just took my sanding block and made sure that, there wasn't any little spots that needed it. And here they are. It's in the top of my tier tray. I have more lemon decor to come, so my whole tier tray is not totally done, but this is what they turned out like. Don't those look nice? All right, project number 2. Our next DIY, you did get a sneak peek of it on my tiered tray. I'm not sure if you saw it, but here we are. I'm going to take a little bit of this floral foam and trim it down to fit in one of those little buckets. These are all items from the Dollar Tree. The little buckets can be found in the wedding section. I've used those for so many fun things for my tiered tray. So I just put a little bit of glue, stuck that in the bucket, and I also have some of the little white rocks. I thought I just want to weigh this down a tiny bit just to make sure it doesn't tip. So I just threw some in the bottom. And next I'll take these faux moss rocks. They kind of have a styrofoam in there, and I took a bamboo skewer and just stuck that up in there. Next, I trimmed this down so that it'll fit in the bucket. And that looks like it'll fit pretty well. So I grabbed this pack of yellow beads from the Dollar Tree. They're going to be my little lemons. We're going to make a little lemon topiary. So I started out by putting the glue on the bead and then attaching it. I do realize that this isn't the most efficient way to go. So I start putting the glue on the moss rock and just start attaching them wherever you want to. As many lemons as you want. But I still do love that glue gun that it just unplugs and I can keep gluing. So then I had these leaves. I got those at Hobby Lobby. It comes on like a spool, like ribbon. And I'm just going to wrap this around to be the leaves on my topiary. Couldn't be simpler, right? And it's so cute. It does look like a little lemon tree. Just keep wrapping that around until you're happy. And then you can poke the little end in that styrofoam. And I also glued those down. Oh yes, if you haven't subscribed, do that. Join me for my next video. I really would love for you to be part of my friends and family here. All right, we just push that down in there and I add a little bit of Spanish moss on top of that foam to cover it up to give it a nice finished look. And once you get that Spanish moss in there the way that you want, you just kind of want to trim anything hanging over the edges. And now just fluff up those leaves so that they sit right around your lemons. Couldn't be easier. So cute. And there it is. I did add a little black bow. And this collab is, as I said, with Mom, and this is her channel. You need to visit it. She does some amazing things with recycling and stuff also. She makes some of the most creative things I have ever seen. So visit her channel. I'm going to link her down below. She was a host of this. And this is Zana and her channel at K.atHomeDIY. Visit their channels. Tell them I sent you over. All right, project number 3. I took that cutting board from the Dollar Tree and I just gave it a quick spray paint of white. Now, this is going to be another printable for you. And I did use my Creative Memories corner rounder because it does have those round corners. I didn't go all the way in. I just barely took that and just rounded the corners just slightly. And the saying on this one is, when life gives you lemons, make something sweet. And so I put some Mod Podge on the back of this. And this one is my matte Mod Podge. So I went all over the back and I just smoothed that out. Oh yes, if you like this, give me a thumbs up. All right, and we're just going to go over the top of this. And I went over the whole cutting board. That way we didn't have anything looking different or out of place. I just went over the whole thing. So I just took some ribbon along the bottom, and now I'm going to take some ribbon across the top and just make these line up. A little bit of glue. The ribbon across the bottom is a little bit thinner, and I even folded it over. Just wanted a hint of that to balance it. And next, I took this little clip. Now, as crafters, we save just about everything, right? This is a little clip for the pumpkins in the fall. So I took a little bit of Gorilla Glue. You could use E6000. And I took hot glue. Reminder, put on your Gorilla Glue or E6000 first and then do your hot glue. But I thought about it after and grabbed that. So I'm putting this on here so that it can be a recipe holder. You could definitely just leave it as a decor piece and not add this, but I thought it would be neat if it could stand up and hold a recipe for you. All right, I made 2 loops and then I just took a little bit of jute twine, tied it around the center. Super, super easy bow, especially with this ribbon that has wire in it. I just fluff that up just a little bit. And now I'm going to take this around. Well, I'm going to clip this first, I decided. I'll take this around and then I just kind of flip it to each side after I pull it tight across the back and glue it. And this is just a super simple bow. Next, I'm going to take a mini lemon. I got that at Hobby Lobby, and that's some boxwood from Walmart. And I just took a couple of those leaves off, just trimmed it, and made it like some lemon leaves. Just thought this would be a great accent piece to it. A little hot glue. And then I was trying to decide how I wanted this to stand up. So I had to think on that. Do I use a couple of tumbling tower blocks? Do I need bigger wood? Can it just sit up against the counter? Then I decided I'm just going to take the back off of a frame. It already has a hinge on it. I can use it, and my frames from the Dollar Tree, I don't tend to use that piece. So let's recycle it. So again, I'm going to use that Gorilla Glue. I like this one a little bit better than E6000 for this, just because it doesn't have as strong of a smell. So I would use some of the Gorilla Glue and then a little bit of hot glue. The hot glue will give it that temporary quick hold, and the Gorilla Glue will hold on for dear life. All right, so I just hold that in place until I think it's set. And then I'm just going to take some hot glue up at the top to give it just a little bit more security until the Gorilla Glue dries. And this is the back of it. I'm just showing you. And this is it sitting up on my coffee bar. So again, you could just clip your recipe on there, or you could leave it like this, or you could totally leave that little hook off, and you could use, you know, a different little clip. All right, this is our final DIY. I got these beads off of Amazon. They come like 1,000 to a bag in different sizes, and I just put these on a bamboo skewer and poked it into a box. I find this to be a quick, easy way that I make sure I get good coverage on my beads. And I did mix up a yellow. I wanted some chalk paint along with my acrylic paint to give me a yellow. So then I'm just stringing these, and we're going to make a beaded garland. So I do a plain bead, a white bead, and a yellow bead. And just kept going along until I got it just about as long as I want so that it'll sit pretty on the tiered tray. Then I put a couple of the tiny plain wood beads. These are tags that I had picked up at Dollar General. I want to say it was like $1.50 for 6 of them. I found if you hold it with your skewer in that hole, it doesn't move around as much. Now we're going to make a tassel. So I wrapped around my hand, I want to say it was like 25 times. And then just take a piece of your jute cord or jute string, rope, and tie this around there. It had been the longest time since I had made one of these. I had to remind myself kind of how to do it. So I'm going to hold that together, and I'm going to wrap this around the top to give it a little bit more of a finished look. My other strings kind of get in the way there. I'm sorry, it's a little bit harder to see. But yep, just wrap it around there until it gives a finished look that you like. And then when you tie it off, just tie it so that it goes down in between your other strings, so then it's covered. You'll see I get my string set here, and then I'm just tying it, and it just goes down right underneath there so you can't really see that knot. All right, then I'm just going to snip the bottom, and then I'm just going to make them even. Give it a little bit of a trim here until it looks the way you'd like it to. I have heard if you have the jute twine that kind of turns up on the ends, if you soak it in water just a little bit, it'll straighten back out. Now I'm just making a loop at the end of this. This is at the end of the beads, and then I will just slip that over the end and make a slip knot and put my tassel on there. Put a tiny bit of glue so it just goes and sits right over that first knot. Just gives it a prettier finished look. If you're still hanging in there with me and you're on your mobile phone, stick a lemon in there with your comment. And if you're hanging in there and you're doing it on your computer, just give me a smiley face. All right, I took this from one of the calendars from the Dollar Tree. It's just off the back. And then I just took a nail file. It's a real nice grit one for acrylic nails. And that's how I take the edges off of that extra paper. Wrap a little bit of twine around the bottom so it ties in. Snip that off, a little bit of glue. And it looks just about right, but to give it that finished look, we're going to give it a little bit of twine just once around the top. And glue that down as well. And we'll just snip that off, and now we'll go to the other end of the garland and just attach that. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I made a bow. So just a little bow at the bottom. Perfect. Now we just attach this. And there we are. Thank you so much for watching. And I do hope that you'll like and subscribe and that we'll see you again. Have a great day.